when you're backed up during the busy season and you have kind of a backlog of jobs that you're trying to do and or a backlog of sales appointments because maybe your sales team's completely booked out for, days or week or even a week plus, how do you communicate to prospects that are calling you in that want immediate service that A, you're busy, but in a way that doesn't lose them? How do you keep those prospects on the hook without completely losing them when you're completely booked out?
That's a good question. Labor is the easier, in my opinion, of the two, especially in this crazy world of residential roofing where everything's pretty much subcontract. It's not that hard to get on Facebook and find some labor. Find you a couple crews, give them a couple of test jobs. You can quickly weed out a crew from a decent crew. Okay, this crew is good. Let's give them a week's worth of work and see how they do. And we're going to supervise it. And we're going to start adding them to our group of subs that we're working. So that one's easy because there's just so much opportunity with subcontract labor. But the sales appointments, that's when it gets tough because your salesmen, I mean, they are the face of your company. You can't just put anybody in there just to give them a week's worth of training and throw them to the wolves. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. The last guy we had hired, he was in training daily, I believe, for about 3 months before we really let him go out on his own. And I'll be honest, I mean, I felt that after it's all said and done, I felt like I failed in that situation. I don't think he was trained well enough at that point. I think he still had things to learn. If that's a long-term problem, if that's going on, consistently throughout the year, you need to start hiring sales guys and putting them through your training process. But if it's a short-term thing, like we ran into with a storm or something, to me, that's time the owner's got to just buckle up and start going to appointments himself. Maybe if you've got a service tech that knows the business, like I've got one service tech guy that understands the business. He understands our CRM. He could sell in a pinch, maybe a week's worth of training and he could sell. He's not going to sell it at the best conversion rate, but you could trust that he could be the face of the company and do the right things. So, but I think that's time the owner's got to step up, or if it's a long-term problem, time to start searching the web for quality candidates.
If you've done, you do all that and you still, it is temporary. It's like a, situation that was just over a month or two. You've already maxed out everything. What are you telling your receptionist to tell people when they call in and you're on a,
Yeah.
2-week backlog of just sales appointments? What is the language that your receptionist is going to use?
If that was the case, we would ask them if it was an immediate problem, if it was actively leaking. If it is, would you like us to come get a tarp on that thing? It's going to be 2 or 3 weeks before I can get someone out there to schedule an appointment, but I can get somebody out there to tarp this thing in the next 2 days. Find a solution to their problem, because at the end of the day, that's why they're calling you. And if it just takes a little while to get them a quote, that's unfortunate. But at least being upfront and honest, and also kind of addressing some of their issue, I think would be a great way to handle that.
That makes sense. I like that.
There's no sense in sugarcoating it. You got to just be honest. Like, hey, my guys are booked for 3 weeks. Sorry,
Yeah.
but we can absolutely try to help you and get you a quote here in 3 weeks.
So you would not recommend saying, "Oh yeah, we'll be out in 3 days," and then rescheduling 7 times?
Right. And that's what most of our competition does. The amount of people that tell my guys, well, I've called 6 contractors and none of them showed up. And then the next thing I see in ProLine all the time is, our automations will be sending sales follow-up, and the customer's response to the sales follow-up text will be, well, I'm still waiting on Jack to come over here, look at this roof. He was supposed to come Monday and he rescheduled for Wednesday, but now he's coming Friday. So he's rescheduled 3 times. Obviously, that's not your guy, but by God, they'll wait for him, hoping the price is better, So it's like, that's not the way you should handle it, though, because I guarantee you that guy's getting his ass chewed every day.
What do you tell your sales guys when they get that response back? How do they handle that?
If the relationship's already starting this bad with that contractor, are you sure you even want to wait on him at this point? The problem is, as good as Josh is at everything, his texts come across a little bit
To the point.
not as professional sometimes. So sometimes I think they come out wrong, but he's right. And it's like, and now I've also seen the responses come back sometimes where they're saying, you know what, you're right. Because that's kind of the slap in the face they need is like, do you really want to deal with this? He stood you up 3 times. My
Yeah.
price is fair. I'm treating you right. Yeah. So that's how he handles it. I agree. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I think going back to that what we were talking about before, this just underscores it. When it comes to something this big of a purchase, there's so much fear both about the process and about the price. And so much so that almost every homeowner is going to go out and get at least two, if not three, maybe even four quotes for it before they make a decision. That is not a type of buyer that is prioritizing convenience and ease of purchase. That's a buyer that is doing the opposite. They're willing to massively inconvenience themselves, put up with people standing them up multiple times and rescheduling all these things just to make sure that they're getting a good price and that they've seen all their options. It's a completely different type of buyer than the buyer that's going and buying some clothing or books or whatever it is through something online.
Right.